We've been discussing the different general types of costs that a franchisee has to incur and that he or she must look at before purchasing a franchise. We looked at initial fees or costs, the fixed fees. We've looked at ongoing royalty payments, and we've looked at advertising fees. We really haven't examined them, but we've identified them. There's also a question of your financing. Where's that going to come from? Whether it's going to be an SBA loan, you want to examine that issue way before you determine that this particular franchise is for you. There are certain franchises that are on an SBA list that the SBA will not finance based on the prior problems they've had with the franchisor or the failure rate. So that's also some more information that you can get. But you need to go down to the local bank, your regional bank, your SBA lender, and or call the SBA itself and see what the parameters are of possibly borrowing money. The interest rate could be prohibitive. The amount of money could have a cap on it. The requirement that you put personally a certain amount of money into the business before a loan will be extended. Those are all issues that you need to determine up front. And as I said before, you also need to look at your own savings. If you were having to go 6 months rather than 2 months without any income, where would you obtain the money to be able to simply pay the bills or exist yourself, your own personal expenses? And in that regard, you'd also want to put in your own personal business plan, you need to determine how much you need annually to be able to exist by yourself. Other issues that are more personal that a franchisee needs to consider in purchasing a franchise are whether you're interested in that particular field. Many franchisees are lured to a particular franchise based on the promises of profits, and they have no background or even interest in the franchisee. That's a bad way to start, and I recommend against using that as a criterion, the sole criterion as to whether something is profitable. Many times you're going to be there yourself, and your family and your relatives are going to be there yourselves for many, many hours a week. And if there's something that you don't enjoy doing, it's really going to be a major detriment to the successful ability of your business. The other question is, how many hours can you work a week, which is a related issue. I've had some franchisees that have budgeted in, say, 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, and they actually end up working 100 hours a week. Again, you're going to find out from prior franchisees, but you still need to determine how many hours you can work and over budget for that particular issue. The other issue that we discussed that you need to determine is whether you're going to operate it yourself or use a manager. Many times franchisors don't permit you to operate through a manager, and even those that do, there could be very substantial fixed costs for salary issues, for benefits for that person, and there's also the issue of training for that person, and there's also many issues that are generic having to do with being an off-site owner. And so you need to determine that up front. It's not as easy as saying, well, we're just going to get a manager to go with us for training, and the guy has some experience in the past in this industry, so everything should be fine. This is an issue that you really need to parse out and cost out and consider seriously before you purchase a franchise. There's also the issue of how many outlets you want to have, how many stores, how many restaurants. If you think in a particular area that it's going to be a successful concept and you don't want other franchisees coming in and usurping all the goodwill that you've created, you want to have the option or the right of first refusal on additional franchises. And it may be that you include in your agreement that you're permitted to have to purchase any franchisee within within 100 miles of your franchise or 50 miles, depending on the type of franchise. And that's something that you need to consider as well. There's also the issue of whether you're going to be an area developer, which is a gigantic franchisee in many senses, and whether you're going to be the one who has the right to develop a particular state or 2 states or a particular county. If you feel this is going to be successful and you've got the finances to support it, you want to be the one who takes a particular area and introduces and benefits from the introduction of that product or service. Thanks for being with me today, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to give me a ring. Thanks again.